Hello and welcome to this short training video. I will talk you through how to correctly prescribe a sequence of fluids in the Cerner EPR system. So the following functionality I'm about to show you should be utilized when you plan to prescribe a sequence of fluids back to back with no break. Unfortunately, this particular functionality doesn't exist within the new order entry component on the end pages, and you will have to go to Request and Prescribe and click on Add. This will open up the order search window. At the top of the order search window, you've got a field which says enter name to create sequence. And this will be the naming convention of the sequence that will be visible on the drug chart. And my recommended naming convention is today's state followed by fluids. What this will do is segregate the sequence of fluids from the rest of the continuous and titratable infusions on the drug chart, making it clear to the nurse that these are in a sequence. So once you've done that, you can see at the bottom it's created the naming of the sequence, and currently no orders are present in the sequence, and it says search and select orders to add to the sequence. So at this point, you search for each individual fluid that you would like to be part of the sequence. So for demonstration purposes, I'm going to start with sodium chloride and choose the appropriate fluid and try to select one with an order sentence. So the ones that say mil, route intravenous, infusion, mil per hour. That will save you some time, and all you would need to populate is the bag volume as well as the time you want to infuse over. So I've selected my first fluid now. Now I can go on to select my second fluid. So I'm going to use a glucose 10% bag. And finally, I'll choose a bag that has potassium in it and choose one with the relevant order sentence. If you didn't choose one with an order sentence, you would have to manually populate the route, the infusion time units, as well as the volume as well. So I'm going to add that. But now you can see you have a sequence of fluids presenting sodium chloride followed by glucose followed by potassium. At this point, if you're not satisfied with the order of this, you can rearrange the order. So by using these arrows here, you can rearrange the order of the sequence. You can add as many fluids as is required for the sequence, and the minimum that you could do in a sequence is 2, because for one fluid, you would just prescribe it as a one-off. So once you're happy you've got the correct sequence, you click on Create Sequence and populate the lead consultant into the ordering clinician window and press OK. Now you press Done, and you can see that you'll know you've got a sequence if the fluids are in italics, because that signifies this order is part of a sequence. So at this point, you can see 3 blue crosses in all the fluids, and that means there's a mandatory field yet to be filled before you can sign off the prescription. So I'll click into the first of the lot, and you can see that the mandatory fields are the bag volume and the infuse over time. So put a bag volume in, so I'm going to do 1000 milliliters, and put the time you want to infuse over. So just enter 8 or the requisite hours before the hour and press enter, and the rate should automatically work out. You then move on to the next fluid, which is glucose, and do the same. So this time I'll just do 6 hours. And then finally, you have the potassium, and I'll go for 500 milliliters and run this over 6 hours. You can also use the infusions instructions box to type out any information that you wish the nurse to see as part of the administration. And if there is a weight in the system, it will also pull through to this weight banner bar. And that will only happen if the weight was recorded in the last 2 weeks, because we would, as a safety mitigation, we don't want to be pulling through old weights which may not be accurate at the point of admission. So when you've got the correct sequence, you press sign and refresh the system, and you can now see in your request and prescribe, you've got a lovely sequence of fluids which are all italics, and you can tell that that's different from other infusions in the continuous section which are not in italics. So now if we go to the drug chart itself and give it a refresh, you can now see your normal fluids or infusions appear in the continuous and titratable section. Then the sequence of fluids that you've just prescribed will have its own section created, and making it very clear to the nurse that these are a sequence. And if you pay careful attention, you will see that the sodium chloride, the first bag of the sequence, is available to administer. And then the second bag and the third bag of that sequence are grayed out. So the administration tile is grayed out. What this means is the nurse physically cannot administer in the Cerner EPR system the second and third bag until the first bag has been started and stopped. And that is the kind of the main um, positive of doing a sequence of fluids, is that there's no ambiguity for a nurse as to what order to run the sequence of fluids in. The alternative would have been, you would prescribe 3 separate fluids separately with the appropriate start and stop dates. But the way that continuous infusions in the system work is that they could be given at any time. So this means of prescribing a sequence will really mitigate any confusion for the nurse in what order to administer the fluids. And that is how to prescribe a sequence of fluids. Thank you for watching.